Is Microsoft Copilot 365 the best AI solution for actual AI-supported productivity? In this video, I'll share why I think the answer to that question is a pretty strong yes. You may have heard about the AI bubble or the end of AI or even the term AI fatigue. And I'm not surprised that we're starting to hear this type of reaction to the flood of AI information that we're constantly being bombarded with. Because so much of what we're being told about AI is really about and from early adopters. Those people that are exploring new tools, people that are already comfortable with technology, and they're really focused on exploring and using AI in unique and novel ways. And this isn't new. When web browsers first arrived as a technology, the debate was really on the browsers themselves, not what we could actually do with the browsers in order to accomplish things that were meaningful for you. It's time we started looking at AI that supports what we're actually trying to do, which is getting things done. And this is where Copilot 365 really becomes the best AI for actual workplace productivity, working with documents, spreadsheets, presentations, creating content, building a business, collaborating with other people, all the things that we actually want to do aligned with the way we work and with deep insight not only to the entire world where it can synthesize information, but also to our very specific workplace. This video is part of a series of videos that I'll be doing on Copilot 365, releasing a video every 1 to 3 days. So if you're not subscribed already, subscribe now so that you don't miss any of these videos. Here's a list of the videos that I'll be doing, and all together, by going through them, you'll be able to use Copilot 365 in a way that really helps you be productive. In this video, you'll be introduced to Copilot 365. You'll see what it is, what sets it apart from other AIs, why it's really the best AI for businesses of any size. To start, we'll look at an AI maturity model that I developed and that I use whenever I'm invited to speak about AI to business owners, leaders, or staff. And then we'll do a tour of Copilot 365. I'll point out some of the features and capabilities that might surprise you. In fact, Copilot 365 can often do everything that other AIs can do, but actually better. You'll see what I mean by that. And this video is just the start. This video is the first in a series of videos on Copilot 365 that form an entire AI productivity course. In total, this series of videos will help you get more from AI by using Copilot 365 to do the things that you actually need to do on a daily basis. And I might throw in some few extra tools if and when they're applicable. So let's start with the AI maturity model, and we'll set the stage for why Copilot 365 matters so much and how much it can do for you. This is the AI maturity scaffold diagram that I created, and I created this diagram to have a visual way to begin a discussion, begin a dialogue about using AI to be more productive with an organization or a business, anyone that wants to use AI and actually get results from using AI. Now, for a lot of people, when they think about AI, they'll have a term or an idea of what AI is. There's a lot of differing opinions about what AI is and how to best use it and how to best learn it. So for a lot of people that were early adopters, they really look at the AI platforms, the generative tools. The common one would be ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity. There's a number of tools out there. And this makes perfect sense because this is really how AI sort of hit the world, the popular AIs that we see today. This is how they entered the world. So for many people that were early adopters, their first use of AI was using a tool like ChatGPT, whatever version they began with. And for many of those folks, they learned to do prompts to ChatGPT. And now as ChatGPT and some of the tools have evolved, what they've done is they've been able to create imagery, they've been able to create videos, podcasts. There's many things that generative AI can do. But once you're familiar with the tool, you start thinking about how can I do more with that tool? So you'll see a lot of AI videos on how we can do AI automation. You'll see a lot of videos on how we can even start making AI do work for us or build agentic AI. The challenge with that entire end of the maturity model is that all of these have really a developer mindset. So you're really a developer mindset. You're more focused on the technology and extending out the technology. But that's not really how most people work. Most people go to work every day and they have a job task checklist. They have a list of things that they need to accomplish, and writing prompts is not what they're sent to do. They need to do customer service. Maybe they need to send an email. They need to communicate something through a document. They need to be able to provide a presentation. They need to be able to do a data analysis or look for something on an Excel spreadsheet. They're really working with technology in order to do customer service or sales or supply chain or something that makes that business productive. And many of the things that they do will be human-only things. They'll talk to people, they'll build relationships with people. In fact, many of the things that we do as humans are really the core of the business and really drive the true value of a business. You don't go to a business because they have the best computer system. You go to the business because they have the best customer service or they have the best product. If you go to a restaurant, you don't really care about the point of sale system. You don't care about whether they can split checks or whether they can do all sorts of cool things with the point of sale system. You really care about the fact that you had a nice time with your friends and a nice meal. But there are ways that we can use technology to augment that. And that's really the first thing that we want to do with AI. What we really want to do with AI is we want to take the things that we're already doing and we want to go in and we want to do them better because AI is helping us know more about the things we're doing. And that's where productivity tools like Copilot 365 come into play, because they sit inside of our existing productivity applications and they can do all of the things that generative AI will do. You'll see that in this video and any subsequent videos. You'll see how Copilot 365 can actually do all of the things that ChatGPT can do. It's a very powerful platform, but it's integrated into the Office suite. It's integrated into my office environment. And there are some specialty tools out there that can also help us. Maybe a tool that's built to help me do food costing for a restaurant, or maybe a specialty tool that helps me do research or helps me do something specific. Those are also tools that are built for purpose. We're focusing here, of course, on Copilot 365 and that level 1 of maturity, which is the bulk of the people working in an organization and the bulk of the value. And something that's very important to also consider when it comes to AI is that AI is part of digital transformation. And digital transformation is not just about AI. It's about more than AI. In fact, I'll just pop into another model here. I'll go into my digital transformation model. This is not a maturity model, it's a digital transformation model. But when it comes to digital transformation, we have artificial intelligence as just one aspect of a digital transformation strategy. We also have data, cloud services, IoT and automation, and then from a business standpoint, the relationship that we have with customers is changing. We have competition, again, data, how we use it to serve our customers, how do we innovate, how do we drive value. That's maybe a whole other series of videos. We'll just concentrate on AI here, and we'll concentrate on how we can use Copilot. But the key here is that when it comes to using Copilot or ChatGPT and some of the other AIs out there, is that when it comes to Copilot, what we're looking at is data access. So we want to take our AI and have it access the data that we're currently using to run our business. Whereas if we want to start getting into AI automation and agentic AI, we are going to have to do a data engineering project. And that's actually what I teach. I teach data engineering. We're going to have to go through a cycle of ingesting data, storing data, cleaning and cleansing and transforming data, modeling that data, and then serving that data to an AI system or to a data analysis system. That's another series of videos. We're just going to concentrate on this. In this series of videos, we're just going to concentrate on how we get to this level. And I think you'll be pretty amazed at how quickly you can then rise up in the maturity level as you start getting more value with AI. So let's take a look at Copilot. And as we look at Copilot, think about how it's accessing data, my organizational data, as well as the data in the world. because it can do everything that a generative tool can do. In fact, Copilot is built on top of ChatGPT 5, so there's that. But we can go in, and I'll show you this in Copilot, and then as we're doing this, think about how as you expand your knowledge and you get everything with Copilot in order, how you can then build upon that platform. And if you're running a business or if you're supporting a business with AI, think about how you can get all of your staff and all of your organization functionally literate with AI and working with AI effectively, so that as you add more services and as you get more complex with AI, it can be digested, incorporated, and used effectively. Let's go take a look at Copilot 365. It's important to distinguish between Copilot Chat and Copilot 365. Copilot Chat is fantastic, helps me retrieve information, use AI in very meaningful ways to help me with my tasks and all sorts of different things I can do. It's a great tool, and for a lot of people, they have access to Copilot Chat through an Office 365 subscription. Copilot 365, on the other hand, is an additional license that you need if you're part of an organization like a school or a business. And this additional license has a monthly charge to it, but it's really integrated with how you do work with Microsoft Office 365. It's actually integrated into the Office 365 suite and helps you do things like generate documents, work with spreadsheets, create presentations, draft emails. And the key here is that Copilot 365 works with your existing Office 365 subscription environment, and it respects all of your security boundaries. One of the most powerful and important aspects to Copilot 365 is that it keeps your data safe. So you'll need to have an administrator go in and give you a license to Copilot 365. It's part of your Microsoft 365 environment, but it is a separate license. And when you have a license to Copilot 365, it will be able to use role-based authentication. What that means is that if you're a member of a group that has access to files or your own personal files that you're storing in your company environment, your OneDrive, your Teams, your Word, your Excel, all of those files can be seen by Copilot 365. All of those files can be used as part of its AI. And this means that your data is completely safe because it's behind that enterprise firewall. It means that you only have access to the things you can see. You can't see a coworker's information. Your coworker cannot see your information in the same way that you cannot read a coworker's emails and they can't read your emails. If you share something with someone, then of course they can read it. And when I say they, I also mean Copilot 365. This is very useful because it means I can use existing materials that I've created as the input for new materials that I'm creating. Things like summarizing emails, things like looking at my Excel spreadsheets. We'll see those throughout this video series. Now, the nice thing behind this is all firewalled, but external data can be brought in. In fact, it uses ChatGPT 5. So you're actually using ChatGPT 5. You can go out onto the internet and run AI queries against the public data sets or the public AI data sets without taking your data and using it to train those public data sets. Your material is your material. Role-based authentication protects you with your material, but you can still go and get public material. As an example, let's say I had an Excel spreadsheet. It contained a lot of confidential information. I'm the only one in my organization that has that spreadsheet. I'm looking at it. I could go out onto the internet, bring in taxation tables or bring in supply chain tables, and I could use those as part of my AI work that I'm doing, but that doesn't mean that my information will go out into the public environment. And this is very useful and something that protects my data. Well, now that we understand the maturity model and we understand what Copilot 365 is, here we are in the Copilot 365 environment. I've logged in with an account that has an assigned license, and to get here, I just put in Microsoft365.com. You can see that in the center of the screen, I have a typical chat type of environment. It's a new chat that I have here. I'm working with Copilot. It's even nice because it gives me some suggested prompts in here, and I can even see more suggested prompts. If I scroll down, I can go in to a prompt gallery where it'll give me a whole number of different prompts that will help me interact with the AI. I can even go in and choose specific tasks. For example, let's say I want to understand or edit or code or analyze. Let's say, for example, I want to go in and prepare, and I want to prepare, for example, let's say I'm in marketing. You can see, we'll go into human resources. Let's say I want to go in and do an interview prep. It's giving me suggested prompts, and you can see here that when I put that prompt in here, I can set a number of different values in here. Now, I'm not going to use this prompt. I'm not in human resources, so I'll just delete that. Now, I can also go up to the top right-hand corner here, and for this video, we'll mostly be doing a tour of Copilot 365, and then in subsequent videos, we'll go into each area in great detail where we're doing specific tasks. So you'll make sure to stay tuned for those. I have a green shield up here, and this just indicates that I am using enterprise data protection. So this means that my information is just for me, or information that's shared with me. It's not going out to a public environment, and that's very good. I can go in and I can do a temporary chat if I don't want to retain what I'm chatting about. And I can also choose the model that it's using to think. I can do auto. That's normally what I do. I just let it determine whether to do a quick or a deep thinking response based upon my prompt. So we have that. And the ellipse here gives me a lot of very interesting options, some of which you might get excited about just by seeing them, but we will be covering them in more depth. So first of all, I can see my recent pages that I've worked with. We'll talk about what pages are. We can do scheduled prompts, super useful, especially when I'm working with Outlook. I can send feedback, so I can send feedback on what's happening. I can turn my web search on and off, so I can eliminate the web from being part of this AI process if I don't want it to go out and look on the web. And I can go into my settings. And with my settings, there's some really interesting things that I can do. I can go underneath data controls, so I can have shared links, right? So how I will use data to ensure privacy, so I can manage shared links if I decide to share a prompt or decide to share the results of a prompt. And I can do personalization. So I can actually provide Copilot 365 with custom information about my preferences, things that I'm interested in, the way that I like to be spoken to, the way that I like to conduct research, any goals that I might have. And that will allow Copilot to really assist me with personalized information. And I can even go into the Copilot memory, where I can go and see any of the memories that it's captured. This is a fresh license that I've just assigned to an account, so I don't have as much material in here to draw from, but I can go in and do this, and I can go to my work profile as well, which will give me my location of where I'm working from and such. I can also go into agents, and I can set up access to specific external data, so I can actually allow connectors through my admin portal to connect up. Some of this is a little bit more advanced, but the point here being is that you have a lot of configuration options with Copilot to really make it your own environment. And I really do like the prompt gallery especially. For example, a lot of times I will go in, and if you're in an academic environment, there's actually teaching in here. But let's say I want to do learning, and I want to learn, for example, something along the lines of, let's say I'm working in a consumer goods environment. Well, you'll see that the prompt galleries, we can go in and create our own prompts as well. So we can save prompts and put them all in our gallery. You can even share prompts amongst other people in your organization. It won't use the documents in the prompts, but it'll build a generic prompt. So we can go in and we can build prompts in there. That's very useful. So for example, I could say, help me prepare for my day. And if I go in here, I can even provide it with work content, images and files. And one of the things that's really useful is if I use the /, I can actually bring in specific documents. So let's say, for example, instead of help me prepare for my day, help me prepare, I could say for a presentation on learning techniques, on learning, and I can give it this document here, and it will then actually use this document as part of its preparation to help me prepare for this particular topic that I'm going to be presenting on. So there's a lot that we can do with AI. We'll go through many different scenarios as well, but you can see it's going to choose whether it's going to do deep thinking or not. I can even go up here and start a group chat in Teams about this prompt so we can all brainstorm and work together on this if we have a shared document or if we're planning a shared project. So that's very useful as well. I can even go in and instead of just using my material, so I'm using my work material and I can go out on the internet, but I could isolate just to the web. So if I just want to isolate only to the web, I could do that, and I'm only doing web search as well. So it's going to go through and it's going to generate a response for me. Meanwhile, let's just go down the side and talk about some of these things here. We can go in and do a search. That's pretty standard. I'll just go through. We'll do a standard search. This will help me find documents across my organization. So for example, I'll just say, let's go here, right? So I can go in. It's just giving me some data in here. But let's say, for example, these are documents that I've recently been working with in a SharePoint site in my organization, which is Learning and Technology with Frank. And you can see here that I would be able to go in and I'd be able to find people in my organization. And this is very useful. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm looking for a document. I don't know where it's stored, but I know I have access to it. I can go in here and it often allows me to find it quite quickly. I can build up a library of content across my organization. I'll do an entire video on how we can build up pages and how we can use those in notebooks. Stay tuned for that. But the idea is that I can build a personal library here in Copilot 365. And the create function is very useful. Once again, we'll be doing an entire video dedicated to the create function, but we can create images, make videos, design infographics. There's a lot that we can do here. So a lot of times you'll see someone that will want to create an image in order to put it into a PowerPoint. Well, in the video about PowerPoint, we'll talk about how we can create an image and use that in our PowerPoint presentation. There's lots we can do in terms of creating content in here. It's very, very useful again. If you have the Copilot 365 subscription, you'll also get access to a researcher tool. So you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to do research on a project or something you're working on, as well as an analyst tool so you can start analyzing data and visualizing data. You can see why this is a series of videos and not just one big Copilot video. This is our tour of Copilot. Wait till you see all of these in action. And then we can build My Hub. This is an agent I put in, and Viva Goals. We can also add our new agents, which we can create ourselves. We can also look at many agents that are available for us to put in. So we can go in, there's a lot of different agents. For example, if I want to work with Learning on Frontier, SharePoint page agent, right? So I can automate new news posts and such. There's a lot of different agents that are by Microsoft, different featured agents. We can create agents, and there are more agents. There are lots of different agents out there that will allow us to do specific things and help us with the AI process. Now, at this point, you may almost feel overwhelmed if you're just starting out on your AI journey. Just the chat itself can help us. If we just go into the chat and work there, that can help us with what we're doing. Okay, so if I go through, you can see in my old chat, the one that I was working on when I went off to the menu here, it's still working on that chat. All of my chats will be in here as well. Now, there's a lot to Copilot. This is the overview of how we get in and just a quick tour of where things are. The key element is that in order to use Copilot 365, you do require that license, and it does need to be a license as part of an organization. So a school or a business, it's part of Microsoft 365. You do have that enterprise data protection, and there are a lot of advanced features that we can use and that we'll explore in the next video. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like this video, hit the like button, share this with someone else that's also about to explore Copilot 365, and watch the next video in the series. Maybe you'll watch it right now, or maybe just absorb one per day over a period of time. Copilot is a very powerful AI that works the way I work, It allows me to go into my documents, and it allows me to get a lot of work done using Microsoft Office with Copilot 365. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.